Welcome, Nerdy Knights of the well-rounded table to Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take those extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I'm Padawan Learner and Defender of Droids, Sarah O'Connor. Welcome.
Hello there, Sarah.
Oh,
Welcome
hello
to
there.
our very special episode. I am Colleen McMillan, Jedi Master and Rebel Scum collaborator.
And I am Pirate Jedi, Anders Drew. Welcome.
And I'm your ambassador to Naboo, Princess of Prequels, Flo Siegel. And I cannot believe that we get late night Anders tonight at our slumber party.
Yeah, Anders is up late, y'all.
This is very exciting.
During online poker, this is the normal time when I just start betting recklessly so I can get out and go to bed.
Yeah, who knows what's going to be said here tonight with Anders up so late.
Yeah, so for viewers and watchers wondering what we're talking about, we're recording right now at like 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is way past Anders's bedtime. So enjoy. And you know what? Not only do we run the gamut of comfy clothing, we do run the gamut in terms of rank, from Padawan to Knight to Master. But no matter the rank you carry or the pajamas that you are wearing, one thing does remain constant: much to learn we still have.
Very, very true. I will also say I will not apologize for ever wanting to go to bed. So, last time on Bohemian Geek Studies, we took an extremely dorky dive into the second half of The Mandalorian Season 2. And since that dive got pretty much even extra dorky, even by our standards, we are here with a bonus episode of Master and Apprentice, where we are examining your listener-submitted questions. So let's get right into it. Sarah, can you please grab a drink from the cantina and punch it with our first submission from the HoloNet?
Yes, I can. So in Master and Apprentice, we had a ton of great questions for this episode, and thank you to everyone who contributed. Our resident X-Wing pilot and light side collaborator, Tori Wentworth, had a great idea about how Ahsoka and Luke could interact on the Ahsoka show. Then we took it a step further. First, Tori doesn't want Ahsoka and Luke to meet in person. Using that youth serum tech is expensive and just doesn't look as good as the real actor. Let's face facts. Yeah. Instead, have them speak over holo. Luke won't look weird, and it will have a nice resonance with Ahsoka's Rebels moment when she watches the old holo of Anakin. But hark! What if instead of chatting with Luke over holo, Ahsoka talks to Leia? With their connections to the Rebellion and Bail Organa, these two would probably have plenty to talk about, as well as being able to trust one another quickly. I can see Leia briefing Ahsoka on a New Republic issue, then cautiously asking Ahsoka if she'd like to speak to Luke. Ahsoka, sighing, would say that she wasn't quite ready. Luke was the one who witnessed Anakin turning back to the light and the last one to see him alive. I can see why Ahsoka would be hesitant to talk to him. Leia makes way more sense if we're bringing a Skywalker into the Ahsoka show, even as a cameo. And you know how they love to bring Skywalkers in as cameos.
Do they ever?
So, thoughts on that, team, or ideas on how to pull that off? How do we feel about Tori's theory?
I love the holo idea.
Yeah.
If their problem is that they have to connect it at least a little bit to the New Republic and what's happening, and Ahsoka, because she's active during this time, we just need to know what she's doing. That would be so awesome if we could see Leia. And it would be cool to see her talk to Luke too. I just don't know how much talking they would actually do, because neither of them are super chatty. I think Leia would be the one to try and coax Ahsoka into a conversation, which is what we would actually want to hear. I think it would be cool if they have to talk to somebody from the New Republic and it has to be a Skywalker. I think Leia would be a good option.
Yeah, plus it would just be cool to see Ahsoka and Leia talking just like as two like really badass ladies. So that would be cool.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It would. It definitely would. My one hesitation on that particular front, and I mean, it was absolutely like a kind of a unique circumstance to insert Leia into Rise of Skywalker with footage that was already shot, given that Carrie Fisher had passed. I don't know how I feel about like kind of digitally recreating her posts in that way.
Yeah.
They'd need a new actor.
You need a new actor. Like, obviously, I mean, Carrie Fisher did not voice Leia when she appeared on Rebels, so like that is a totally separate thing. But to then kind of recreate her in live action, even via Holo, it feels like a slightly different ballgame to me.
If it were Carrie, definitely.
So I don't know how I feel about that. That being said, I can't say that if they were to do it, I would not be sitting there just being like, oh my God, yes, what's going on now? Please.
Who's on the phone?
Thirst is real.
My thirst is real for Leia.
I think we just need to get more comfortable as a Star Wars fandom and just like in general, actually Marvel too, just with like recasting. Like it's okay.
Totally.
Like we understand. It's okay. Everything's fine.
Yep. Agreed. Colleen, do you want to take the next one, love?
Why, yes, I will. Excellent friend and avid Boba Fett stan Jason Zambricki asked a little bit of a longer question here, so I'm going to quote him. So the tone, scope, and story were very different from season 1 to season 2, especially the back half of season 2. The story accelerated after chapter 13, as opposed to the pace of the first season and the first couple of season 2 episodes. Coming off the success of season 1, Disney seemed dead set upon this kind of, quote, Mandalorian / Star Wars television universe, little MCU-ish. Yeah. Much of season 2 was used to set up these spin-offs. Do we think that setting up these new shows came at the expense of the Mandalorian story itself? Because that has been one of the arguments for trying to do this many spin-offs off of one show.
Flo, I saw you shaking your head yes. Do you want to go first, love?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. It definitely took a toll. I think they tried to cram a lot of people in there. We wanted them to cram even more people in there because some of us wanted Ezra. So we were like, yes, let's go. I mean, I think we would have been happy if Mando would have lasted just like all year. Just give me one episode a week for 52 weeks. But obviously it had to end. And so, like I said in the last part of this episode, which I guess came out on a different day, I just think there were pacing issues. I think obviously they couldn't have known how Mando was going to do season 1. They put a lot of eggs into that basket and it obviously bore a ton of fruit, which is great, but it would have been nice if we could have spread out our cameos instead of shoving them all into a couple episodes of season 2. I do think it suffered. I think it took away from some of the relationships that had been established in season 1. That being said, it was fine.
I think it was a different flavor. I think if you wanted it to be a small knit world, Mandalorian season 1 is going to strip like far and away ahead of season 2. I think if you were looking for those different flavors of Star Wars that like we had pointed out during each of our earlier episodes, and you were interested in seeing new characters brought in, I think Mandalorian season 2 did a substantially better job. I mean, season 2 would not exist but for the excellent like seed planting of season 1. And I think I'm kind of one of those Star Wars fans who loves when the web does interconnect to different things, and I think the longer we sit on the Mandalorian, the better I'll feel about Luke coming on in the last episode, because I love the interconnected stories. And so to me, season 2 feels right now that it was rushed, but that's because the web is getting bigger. And I love that we're going to be having those interconnections, because apparently, and we'll be getting to this for the last question, Grogu is going to be very central to Star Wars moving forward. So even though we think he's stepping off the stage, it's because there is more action to be seen. And I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And it's kind of odd. Like I saw that the Rangers of the New Republic is going to be set almost directly after Return of the Jedi. So that's a couple years before Mando. So that's going to be interesting to see how that can connect in with the Mandalorian universe and culminate with an Ahsoka mega event kind of thing, like Mando, Ahsoka, Rangers. How much time are we going to cover? I can't wait to see what they do. They definitely have got a lot of flowcharts going somewhere.
Yeah,
definitely.
Storyboard. Here's what we want for the entire thing. I think they've got to have just a room covered with whiteboards, covered with this kind of stuff.
I think they did a pretty good job this season. Like in terms of bringing in those extra characters, they actually within this, like, yes, we've talked a lot about the Easter eggs, the tie-ins to other things, but in terms of actually like setting up spinoffs, they really only set up like 1.5 to 2, right? Like they definitely set up an Ahsoka spinoff that was definitely deliberate. It was kind of obvious as you were watching it that that's what they're kind of doing. And then like yes, we know because of that Disney Investor Day announcement that they are doing Rangers of the New Republic, whatever that ultimately means. And we were kind of just left guessing based on the different things they did, what fits into that. What could that be? And I think that they're doing a pretty good job of setting this up. I mean, I'll draw the comparison. Once again, you guys have heard me talk about it many, many times before, and I'm saying it again. It's the Arrowverse on the CW. I mean, they did an incredible job. They had a season 1 that was very independent. Season 2 introduced the character of Barry Allen, who would get his first spin-off, The Flash. And I mean, they're up to like 6 or 7 shows at this point after this many years. They have a very well-connected universe that everything can operate separately and then do kind of that thing Sarah was just mentioning a couple minutes ago. Everybody comes together for these giant crossover events once, maybe twice a year.
Right.
And it functions very well together, interweaving with each other. And I think that they've done a very good job with that. This is just me here. I don't know necessarily that happened at the expense of the story of The Mandalorian. Maybe a little bit, but I will not go as far as saying they didn't push it so far as to like do the kind of travesty of what the DC extended universe has done in terms of their movies, where the entire function of the movie is not to have an actual plot.
Right.
It is to set up the multiverse, the multi-franchise thing.
Right.
Yeah. That
Well,
was bad.
I'm just saying, if they wanted to set up the Frog Lady like IVF clinic spinoff, they did a great job setting that one up.
I could
I
have
said
used
it
at least
last
a little more
episode.
time with Ahsoka, but we knew
Yeah.
we'd probably only get
No.
1 episode with her.
Right.
So it was like,
We were-
we got a lot.
We
her
were
at least.
hashtag blessed to get what we could.
I'd rather get the Frog Lady, hot spring spa spinoff.
The Frog Lady.
She opens a hot spring, guys. She now knows it's uninhabited by spiders because they killed all of them, so it's fine.
Frog Lady's over here like doing her own Love Island show.
Yes.
The hot springs.
Anders, why don't you take our next question?
Oh, sure. So, friend of the pod and faithful Rebels fan Keith had a couple of questions for us, and we want to start off with kind of the more humorous one. So, talking about Boba Fett, does Boba Fett get down?
Yes.
And if he does, will he and Fennec make a super assassin baby?
Good question, Keith.
This is a fabulous question. Thank you, friend of the pod, Keith. First of all, Django was hot
Yeah.
and
Smoke show.
really hot. So
And Fennec is hot, so
Fennec
they're
is
making
way hot. So Boba, like, while a little bit old now, like, still hot. I mean, not Django in his prime hot.
No.
Let's not get crazy.
He did get burned up by the Sarlacc.
Yeah, he
Eyebrows
has
are gone.
stomach acid scarring.
Hey, chicks take scars, man.
It's true. Yes, we do. Yeah, no, I think he definitely gets down. I'm like a little bit hesitant to say that they're going to make a super assassin baby, only because we don't really know how the cloning process like affected his swimmers.
ding,
And
ding, ding.
also, like, she is part cybernetic at this point, specifically like in her mid region. So not 100% sure that she still has a functional uterus. I'm just putting that out there.
These are the
she's
facts,
older,
people.
Too. She's older. So.
And she's older, right? So I would say, you know what they'd be great at? Starting up a like foster care assassin school a la Umbrella Academy. They're gonna start an Umbrella Academy of assassins.
Very good.
I can
Done.
see that happening.
I don't think we can top that.
I
So,
really, no.
Colleen, why don't you announce our next one?
Oh, this is another question from Keith. Speaking of getting down, Why did the show seemingly abandon all sexual tension? The last even slight spark with anyone was with the damn widow on the swamp planet.
Right.
That's a direct question from Keith. Her name is O'Mara, Keith. O'Mara on the swamp planet. Oh man. Anders, I know you have thoughts on this one.
I do have thoughts, and I mean, I think the short answer is that it's a Disney Plus show, so they can't get too far into the sexual tension and have this be on Disney. The other thing I'll say on this one, though, is my kind of question back to Keith on this one is just, does the show need it? Like, is this show driven by that flow? I know you think sexual tension could show up anywhere for any reason. And to be fair, and it can, like, that's fine, but I don't know.
That's never been Star Wars.
Maybe this is a guy thing. I don't know.
Leia, that's about it.
Wait,
Look at Flo aghast.
You got Han and Leia, and you've got the
Kanan
basically
and
the
Hera,
untold stories of Kanan and Hera and
better on Clone Wars.
Satine.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like when it comes
Satine, Obi-Wan.
Ooh,
On the whole, Star Wars does not have a great track record in writing what I would call romantic dialogue.
Unless
we know.
George can't write romantic dialogue.
But I will say, I mean, again, my question is also, like, does it need it? Like, yeah, those were some, like, nice moments with Din and O'Mara, but I am absolutely totally down for developing those, like, those intimate friendships and leaving romantic feelings by the wayside. Actually, in particular with, I don't know the right term for this, it would be kind of cross sexual orientation friendships. So whether that's, you know, a straight man and a straight woman,
Sure.
2 gay men, 2 gay women, like people who you would expect to be romantically interested in each other, not developing a romantic interest and just developing a very strong personal, maybe even professional friendship. I'm very down for those types of relationships and shows because I feel like it is so much more of a cliche for them to end up in a romantic relationship when that's just not the case most of the time.
Like what could have happened between Ezra and Sabine, but they very nicely sidestepped it and made it into a wonderful friendship. Watch Rebels.
Yeah,
yes.
Rebels. And they're only teens. They don't know anything yet.
I'm so much more into doing that than forcing some romantic tension just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, like if Bo and Din suddenly had some sort of sexual tension, that would be so weird. Thank you. That'd be weird.
Don't
bring Fen Rowan. That's all I want.
All I'm here to say is it never really seems that much to me for Star Wars to have a ton of sexual tension, but I would love Star Wars so much more if they did ratchet up that sexual tension. I know that it will like never, ever, ever happen. So I guess we'll just have to start writing some fan fiction.
Okay, I just have 2 things to say. First of all, to your point, Anders, I think you're absolutely right. I think I forget how you put it, but basically
I don't even know how I put it. I couldn't think of how to put it. So
anyways, what's really nice is to see Din, and as much as I don't like her, Cara Dune, not having any sort of like a sexual relationship. They're like very business / friends / they help each other out. So I do really like seeing that. The next thing I need to say, I'm sorry, did you guys not watch Attack of the Clones?
Oh, we did.
We did. That's why we're saying this.
We did.
And said, not like here, where everything is smooth and soft, and I
believe that. Okay,
out.
First of all, Flo, the line is soft and smooth.
Okay, so clearly you saw it, and yet somehow you did not combust because I did.
I mean, I combusted with laughter. Does that count?
Yeah. I'm more combusted when Natalie Portman's like stomach got exposed later in that movie.
Oh yeah, that's such a
she looked hot there.
Right? So good.
Yeah.
She would do her duty. Oh my God, I'm dead.
I think that she had better chemistry with Ewan McGregor. I mean, Ewan McGregor can have chemistry with like an old shoe, so that's not really fair to anyone, but
I'm just saying, if somebody stroked my arm by a lake anywhere and just said the word soft to me, I would be like, all right, it's done. Let's go. Let's go.
If your husband is in the next room and can hear this.
My husband is upstairs. Evan.
Notes, all the notes.
Take Flo.
Rent a lake house.
I like when they do certain forms of sexual tension, like in Legends, they do it a lot because Luke is awkward and likes to flirt with the ladies or try to. I think it's really sweet and cute when that happens. Like Omera and Din were really cute.
Yeah.
Especially when Kara was like, why don't you just go settle down with the hot widow? She wants to do you. Like, I love that. Kind of like the awkwardness, not necessarily the, romance and holding each other and just, that doesn't necessarily need to happen. I like the awkward flirting so much.
Colleen, he cut her pear.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean,
Not what the force is for, Flo.
Would have been so much. I mean, it could have been so much more overt if it was a peach.
It's true. Can I just say we did get sexual tension in the season between Frog Lady and her husband, and that was hot.
Yes,
that was true.
You could tell they were in love. Definitely.
Well, I think we can move on to our next question now, and this is from Nicole Churchill, who wants to know if we think Din is a good dad. Who wants to take it first? I can take it first then. I don't think he was a good dad. I think he was an excellent guardian. So, I mean, we love saying Dadalorian, and it's totally like the dad and the son traveling into space together, but that's not realistically what the relationship was. I really think that overall, though, he was a good guardian as best as he could. He has no experience at all raising children, let alone another species child. So, I mean, as much as we made fun of him for not being able to keep things out of Grogu's mouth, Grogu was hungry, and toddlers can get into anything. And moreover, Din knew that he wasn't capable of teaching Grogu all that he needed to learn with his force powers, but still tried to keep him a little bit sharp. We saw that a little bit on the ship with the ball passing back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I really think that Din knew that he was out of his element, but wanted to make sure that Grogu would get to his element. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. So, I mean, from the word jump, when he was supposed to assassinate Grogu and decided against everything that he stood for, literally everything that he stood for, he decided, you are like me, I will protect you. And that is exactly what he did.
That was so well said. I'm kind of tearing up a little bit.
I think he was actually a very good dad. Like, he really got thrown into this. And of course, like, there were moments where he messed up 1,000,000%. I mean, he like let his kid electrocute himself basically. But like, we all mess up as parents because there's no manual, and it is hard and it's a lot. And when they like hand you a baby from the hospital and they're like, great, take it home. And you're like, what? I'm not licensed to do this. Please don't let me take this thing home. You know, Mando stepped up. He like, yes, he like dumped Grogu off at like random people for daycare numerous times.
Yeah, Flo, I'm just gonna bring us back to our holiday special. You don't think Grogu had like serious trauma from the abuse that Din absolutely like inflicted on him?
First of all, Grogu definitely has trauma, okay? No, definitely has trauma. Yeah. But probably more trauma from the first 50 years than from like this however long it's been, less than a year with Din, who really has loved him and taken care of him and made sure that he was safe. No, there's definitely trauma, for sure, for sure. Grogu's like a little latchkey kid, for sure. But anyways, yeah, I do think he did his best, and he was obviously very attached, and like, I don't really know how you measure a good dad, but he really loved Grogu, and to me, like that's really the most important, so.
I think he struggled, and he did the best he could.
He did, yeah.
It's like you said, there's no manual, and he really has no manual. He didn't grow up with his parents.
Yeah.
He was raised by a cult that embraced like family, kind of. More like, we need to stay alive, so please don't take off your helmet ever and show your face. And that kind of training, I mean, he's damaged too. Him and Grogu both have these traumas, which, like you said, they saw in each other, and they latched onto each other, which I thought was really sweet, that their spirits kind of connected, which is why I think they will continue to be connected and go back to each other every time they separate, which is, I don't know about dadding or parenting per se, but they definitely have this connection of love that I think will continue. And I hate that freaking attachment. Here we come again. Like, don't call it attachment. It's love. It's love, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and it made Din take off his helmet a bunch of times.
Burn
And
the books.
Yeah, burn the books. Burn all of the books. Burn the Darksaber. Burn all to the ground.
No, send the Darksaber my way. I think, yeah, so I'm gonna piggyback on a few things I think you guys said. Like, I think it's hard to say whether or not he is in fact a good dad. Definitely a good, like, kind of like guardian older brother. Like, once you actually label it with the word dad, there's something else additional that kind of comes with that emotionally. I mean, they're the most precious moments where we're playing catch with the little silver ball. That's my one regret. That's my one main regret of the season finale, is that silver ball didn't come back into play.
Yeah.
Like, when they said goodbye, he didn't like take it out for him to take with him or something.
I think it'll come back though.
But I mean, those were just such sweet moments, and they were the good moments. It's funny though, as I say that, I also think about another show that I really loved watching that focused a lot actually on the kind of parent-child relationship, and notably the absence of it. That would be Supernatural. Sam and Dean have this extreme brotherly bond, and the sort of absence of their father, the substitution of Bobby as this father figure, the introduction of their other brother Adam, who actually comes out and says at one point, like, yeah, no, he wasn't like my dad. He was a guy who showed up and took me to a ball game once a year. So just those particular moments can't necessarily qualify you as a good dad. They're a step in the right way, but you got to make sure that you're still there, that you're doing the right thing. So I don't know, maybe in a little while when we do a full episode on space dads, I'll be able to have a better answer for this question.
Well, and that kind of leads me to this next thought that I just had, because as you were talking, I was trying to think back, and like, we don't really have any very good parents in Star Wars.
Just like Bail Organa and Kanan and Hera, basically.
Well, and Shmi.
And Brea.
Shmi worked
and
hard.
Shmi.
Shmi was a really good single mom.
Klieg was good too. Klieg was a good dad.
Yeah.
I think
even
it's pretty weak sauce.
Baru and Owen were pretty good parents. I mean, Luke, the only thing he was whining about was that he couldn't go to Tashi Station. I think his life was pretty cush.
He was a teenager. Like, yeah, he's going to be whining. That's what happens. The angst is real.
But we don't see a ton of it.
No.
And so, the bar is pretty low for like what we consider a good dad in the galaxy.
They cut Padme's parents out of Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her parents were actually pretty cool from the book. The two books that they're in. They were pretty great. Not present, really, but they were at least there and supportive. Yeah, we have a lot of daddy and mommy issues, though, rampant in Star Wars. Sheev, Palpatine, I am looking at.
I was just thinking about that.
Real bad dad substitute. Terrible, just terrible. But yeah, the good parents thing, we are going to have to do an episode about that, because it's like a freaking beginning of a Disney movie up in here. They're either dead or terrible people.
Or slaves.
Who end up dead.
In their son's arms.
Mm-hmm. So he slaughters.
Well, as would anyone.
An Anakin apologist through and through.
Hey, I only have one speed, and it is Anakin.
And I think finally, for our last question, we kind of want to know whether and when we're going to see little Grogu again. And while we don't have a definitive answer on that, Jon Favreau revealed in a recent interview, when questioned if we would even see Grogu again, that we would actually be seeing tons more of Grogu on Disney Plus, and we were just getting started with his story. In addition, he revealed that there will be earth-shattering revelations made in a future Mandalorian, well, many or at least one future Mandalorian seasons involving Grogu that will have a major impact on many of the Star Wars movies that fans are familiar with, and that he and Dave will make sure that it will be done respectfully to the fandom. He continued to state that Grogu is not who fans think he is, high flow, maybe, right? And that there is a special connection and background of the character that will be explored that will alter how fans view some of the fan favorite characters in the Skywalker saga and how Grogu will be beneficial to some characters and crucial to the survival of the Jedi and the Force. It will be interesting to see what happens. And frankly, this gives me hope and anticipation that I was kind of missing from season 3. So I'm really grateful for this recent interview. What do you guys all think about this stuff?
Darth Grogu, I need it immediately. I needed it yesterday.
Straight to your veins.
I need it today. Let's go. I will snort it right up.
I think we haven't seen the last of Moff Gideon's blood research. That, I mean,
Definitely.
for sure.
Right.
I think my headcanon guess right now, without having actually seen the interview fully, is that it will have to do with the blood. I really do think so. That's going to be a key part of it.
Especially if the New Republic has purging and start doing their own experiments.
Yeah.
What if they clone Grogu and we get a second Grogu and that's the Darth Grogu?
It'll be Grogu with 2
You wanna go
U's, just
evil
like
twin?
in Legends.
Wow.
Yeah,
You want to go evil twin?
Hey, I'll go for it.
Luke
Give me
has
a
an evil
whole
twin.
Grogu is the new Django, and we get a whole army of little Grogus.
I can see him having to come in and shut down something like that. Like if the New Republic is messing
That would be
around with stuff that
cool.
they should not be messing around with. Like they want to make more Jedi or they want to make more Force sensitives to protect the New
Yeah.
Republic. Like, great, but no, let's not do the horrible cloning without the donor's permission. Let's not
Yes.
do that.
Yeah, but let's definitely go back to Camino and their ladle chairs because I want to be there all the time.
Gonna get that
I'm-
Bad Batch.
I am definitely ready to see Grogu after some proper training. I am ready for that.
Yes.
Ready.
Definitely ready for that. I am nervous about this idea of connecting Grogu back into the movies that we already know and love. While I do have absolute confidence that if they're going to do it, like Favreau and Filoni are the two people who can do it, story-wise, I would have to imagine that I would hope that they are more talking about tying his story into the prequels, because that's when he's at the Jedi Temple. That's when he's actually, we know already effectively, he's kind of present for events and things. How did he escape? Tying him into the original trilogy, I'm really, really nervous about, because I don't necessarily need to know that Deus Ex Grogu was behind the scenes
Yeah.
of any of the events there.
He's supposed to be hiding, so I don't know how he could be reasonably.
Exactly. I would be interested, and I mean, this gets more into, this absolutely jumps like further ahead in the timeline or anything, but I would be really interested to know if potentially, I know we have a bare minimum of background information on him, but if he and like the faction that was protecting him is somehow connected to Max von Sydow's character from the opening of Force Awakens.
Lor Santeca's people. The Guardians of the Wills?
Little Guardians of the Wills, the character who Poe Dameron was seeing in the opening of Force Awakens, who he got the map from in that village, who seemed to have some kind of an understanding of the background of the Jedi and the Force.
Yeah,
so if we could make a through line that way, like,
people.
I'm down.
I'm much more invested in hopefully seeing it tie into the sequels. I think with the tanks and the research and the cloning, it makes plausible sense to me. And that's what I'm hoping to see.
Like a little Palpatine connection.
Exactly. I think I'm hoping that some of the rage that people felt at like the cloning of Palpatine, that will make more sense once we have hindsight. Like this is Star Wars, people. We have never gone in a temporal linear line. Like that is not what we do here. And so I could really see the blood medicine and the cloning all have to do with it. I'm going for sequels. Sequels are broke, baby.
That'd be kind of cool if the New Republic sowed their own doom by perfecting some sort of serum from his blood that then Palpatine got hold of to perfect his own cloning. Like self-fulfilling prophecy, y'all. That'd be fucking great.
I like that idea. I'm still a little hesitant on that, and I think that this ties into some things that we've talked about before, that would be great to have that kind of clarity, but it kind of would it would suck if we have to have that kind of clarity. That just means that they did such a terrible job of explaining that in Rise of Skywalker that you are required to watch The Mandalorian to understand it.
No.
I
See,
wish
I love
we-
the sequels.
I
The
wish we
sequels are
were
probably my
in-
favorite.
Yeah. Well, I think the sequels, I like the sequels on the whole.
Mhm.
On the whole. And I think, but I don't want you to be required to watch The Mandalorian to know why Rise of Skywalker makes sense.
True. True.
I think Grogu is going to be important in the Thrawn kind of saga that I think they're moving toward. I mean, that might be why Grogu gets super
That would be
important,
cool,
because
too.
he either takes Thrawn off the board, or Thrawn's like, "Ooh, another Jedi. Let's go bring it to Ezra back at Chilla so we can stop whatever the F is coming out of the unknown
Dude,
regions."
he could be again, you need to listen to our Thrawn series to fully understand what this term means. He could be a Skywalker for
He could.
hundreds of years.
He could. That would be amazing if Thrawn's like, sup, Grogu?
Yes.
You want a job? Or he could go and help them figure out why the Chiss Skywalkers are failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could be super helpful.
He needs to
Oh,
learn how to speak first, though.
Yes.
yeah. Theories
He does.
abound.
Mhm.
Anything further to add, guys? Otherwise, I think we've wrapped it.
I just want to ask you guys what your favorite moment was from season 2.
Oh, let me think for a
I
second.
know,
Oh,
I've got
this
mine,
was a
so I
tough
can
one.
go first.
Yeah,
I can
you go first. You go first.
It ties in to the Ahsoka episode, and besides just seeing Ahsoka herself, hearing her say Grand Admiral Thrawn was pretty much, bar none, my favorite moment of the entire show. And that's just like a mention of a not minor, but character that a lot of people didn't know about. And I was like, I had no idea that was coming. It hit me out of nowhere. Absolutely zero clue that it was going to happen. Had no thoughts or dreams that it could even happen. And all of a sudden it was there. And I was like, oh crap. Filoni's going there. Favreau, they've been allowed to go there. This is insane. So that, just from the surprise factor and the love of the character factor, just Thrawn and Ahsoka being mentioned at the same time, how it's going to connect back to Sabine and Ezra, the search for Ezra, search for Thrawn. Will we get more space whales? Just all of that meshed together. I was like, yes, please. Just give me all of that. Give me anything Rebels sequel related is probably going to make me the most excited anytime it happens. So besides, I think Grogu touching Din's face at the very end when they said goodbye, which that's gonna make me cry. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Besides that, I think those are my two. Would be Mando and Grogu focused touching of the face. Other characters, Ahsoka with Thrawn.
Well, my two are, because I definitely have two. My two are when Ahsoka is holding Grogu right above the fireplace. I found that to be just that still shot. It gives me chills. I find it to be so beautiful, so powerful. It literally makes me believe in, it makes me a little bit teary. It literally makes me want to believe in the Force because it's just so beautiful and poetic. And then my second favorite moment was like literally a second long, and it was during the samurai fight when she's wielding the Beskar spear and just lays it down hard right before the fight, and it just lets out this ding. And I thought that was just chillingly cool theatrical moment. It was perfect. It was sound in motion.
I'm gonna have to go with Mayfeld and Din sitting at that table, and just like the immense stress that I felt about what was going to happen, about, talk about Operation Cinder and all that crazy stuff. And I was just like, oh man, this is tense. And plus, like, I just loved that episode. So it was great. I love that moment. Anders?
So I can't pick one. I can't even pick two. I'm going three. I'm doing three.
Whoa.
I love a rule breaker. Let's do it.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my three is absolutely one that you guys have already mentioned, the goodbye with Grogu, and just seeing him reach out and touch that face, that was just the emotional resonance right there for a nonverbal character, and in such an ultimately quiet moment, was just so powerful and so well done with a puppet.
Yep.
My number 2, the action sequence battling that crate dragon. Like that was one of the greatest, like just action-packed, exciting ways to get into an opening for the season 2. It was incredible, and it was probably one of the most impressive things I've ever seen shot for TV.
Yeah.
TV, yeah. Oh, and Timothy Oliphant's hair. I think we should just add that as an automatic.
And then my third is, it's such a tiny moment, and I mentioned it when we were talking about the Ahsoka episode. Ahsoka has been quote unquote captured by Din. He thinks he's got her in that kind of like tie-up thing. And Rosario Dawson just gives that small hint of a smile. And in that moment, I was like, holy crap, that is Ahsoka Tano. Like, I can't actually tell if I'm watching an actor or the animated or everything, all the emotions, everything, all the history with that character was just captured in that one single fraction of a second. And it was just incredible to me.
Bravo.
I love it.
Great moments.
So much.
Great moments.
And all of her baggage with Mandalore also. So she's sitting there being like, I know how to beat you.
Well, let's not forget, the Jedi won that war.
Well, why don't we cheers and end out on a high note to The Mandalorian Season 2. Can't wait to see you for Mandalorian Season 3. That's where we'll leave it for you today. Thank you so much for being with us, and come back next time when we continue exploring geeky topics. Remember, you can enjoy us in our podcast YouTube format. Either way, please subscribe and leave 5-star reviews, and let us know what you think in the comments on YouTube. Check us out on our website at Bohemian Geek Studies, where you can watch all of our episodes and enjoy Colleen's Book Corner, where she's reviewing Star Wars literature. And you can also contact us through email and social media to let us know your queries and theories and more. And as always, keep telling other Nerdy Knights to join us, because it really does help. Until next time, Beskar Spear and Darksaber up, and keep those episodes streaming. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
If you live in Georgia, vote.
Vote.
Vote. Exercise that right.